Hey, I'm Dr. Joni Johnson again. Let's talk. One of the questions that I'm frequently asked is, when should I consider medication for my child who has ADHD? Okay, let me just make this perfectly clear. If you or your child has ADHD, it is who you are meant to be. You were born with it. Again, we talked earlier, you were not given a vaccine or didn't come in contact with somebody that caused you to have ADHD. It's just who you are. Not everybody who has ADHD will present signs or symptoms or complications or problems from ADHD at the same time. Some people at age 3 are running all over the place, acting a little crazy. We got to settle them down. Other people might not be 13 or 30 before they start having difficulty focusing, paying attention, and accomplishing the tasks that they need to accomplish. So there's no steadfast rule for when someone should start medication. It's an individual decision. So the question then becomes, all right, well, if it's an individual decision, if I don't automatically have to do medicine, when should I make that decision? The way I like to sum it up is when you start having problems, okay? Again, ADHD is not a curse, it's a blessing. So some people really benefit from having ADHD. Others find that it really impacts their ability to perform. Their grades start going down. They can't maintain friendships. They can't focus long enough to have a conversation. These issues can be distressing. So the way I look at it is this. If you have a child who was recently diagnosed with ADHD and they are otherwise performing well in all areas, so academic, social, sports, they don't need medicine. Maybe they need to learn how to organize themselves better. Maybe they need to learn how to use different strategies to get their homework turned in or to get started on a task. Not everybody who has ADHD needs medication. Behavior modification is also a very powerful tool that can be used to treat ADHD. But now let's say your child has ADHD and the reason why you went to the doctor in the first place is because their grades were starting to slip. Or they were starting to be anxious. They didn't want to go to school anymore because they didn't think that they would do well. Or maybe they're missing out on recess or can't do those after-school activities that they used to do because they have so much homework to complete when they get home. When you start seeing a decline in performance, that's your first clue that we need to start thinking about medication. Now, some of you may say, well, okay, he went from an A to a B, his grades are still good, I'm not worried about it. But what's that doing to his self-esteem? Are you finding that your child is starting to doubt themselves? They're getting more frustrated. They're saying things like, I'm just stupid, or I can't do this information. That's your clue that even though maybe they still have a decent grade, the fact that they're not doing as well as they know they can do is starting to impact their self-esteem. If you start seeing an impact on self-esteem, then that's another clue that maybe we need to start considering medication. What about this one? What about your child says to you, Mom, Dad, something is not right. I need help. Okay, come on now. If your child, who doesn't ask for help in any other situation, is saying to you, I need help, something is not right, come on, it's not time for a tutor. It's time to figure out what is going on, and if that thing that's going on is ADHD, it's time for medicine. I know medication can be scary, but it's the right thing to do. Let me pose a question to you. If your child was diagnosed with asthma and they started having difficulty breathing, would you say, I know an inhaler is the thing to do, but I'm scared of the inhalers, so I'm just gonna let you have some distress? No, you wouldn't. You would grab that inhaler immediately and give them a couple puffs. Academic distress is the same thing. It is just as urgent. No, it's not going to kill you, but if it's going to ruin your self-esteem, your quality of life is going to go down. So what's the difference? In the next segment of Let's Talk, we'll talk about the fears that are associated with parents putting their kids on medication. But use those key points to determine whether it's something you really need to think about or not. I enjoyed talking to you. Let's talk again soon. And by the way, if there's a question I didn't answer, or if this answer spurs additional questions, don't forget, go to the Contact Me section of this app and pose your questions, and I'll get right back to you. Have a good one.